Welcome back, Cracky fans. I think I finally fixed the merge block issues from yesterday. We're going to do a live demo. Let me show you the links I went to try to fix these merge issues. First I need to show you the issue from yesterday because it doesn't exist anymore. I fixed it. Right here in yesterday's video you can see I go and I merge and then everything doesn't look right. You know, on the left we've got before. It's like, okay, there's an imminent merging about to happen. Now here on the right we've got after. Do you see the problem? Shit is fucked with a capital F. Anyway, so why this was happening was completely eluding me until I went into a flow state for like hours and just thought about it. So like, if this is a merge block, right, and I'm merging into it from a block that's like this, and let's say this has got like another block and then a thruster, right? This is all one grid. So what I was doing is at the moment of the merge, I take every single block in this grid and I like snap it to the grid that you're merging into's coordinate system, right? Like I snap it to evenly spaced blocks, and then I also figure out like what rotation each of the new boxes needs to be. Now the problem is, if you can already see this problem from this one example. I swear it wasn't this easy for me to figure out from the development. I swear I could just explain it easily now that I know what the problem is. Each of these boxes I move to the new snapped position, and you can obviously see like, what if I snap these points to where they are, it creates like not at all what you expected, right? The merge block is like over here, the thruster's over here. It's like fucked up. It's exactly what you saw in the video. I was like, oh wait, this line of thinking is completely wrong in the first place. What I need to do is first, I need to take the actual thing that I want to merge, right? And I need to snap only the merge block that's connecting, like this one, exactly to where it needs to be, right? I need it to be rotating, or sorry, facing the opposite direction, right, to the one you're merging into. And I need everything else in the grid to like align with that. Once I figured this out and it was clear, it was easy. I just programmed this and then fixed a couple bugs, and then I think it works now. This makes a lot more sense to me than what I was doing before. But of course, let me know if you see any issues. It was bad before, like bad, so broken. And it was what we got left to do is Sun's Creatures polish right before Saturday. Tomorrow is going to be a lot of work, like Suns and Creatures and all the new content I can muster. And then Saturday is going to be polished for the ship at 6 p.m. Okay, halfway done through multiple suns, which is really trippy. The creatures, which I'm very excited for. Better space stations. The whole deal. Another thing is I'm doing a lot of quality of life stuff with the missiles. You know, the missiles blowing up your own ship. You know, we had some playtesters that were kind of unhappy with this outcome. So I'm toning down the explosions and I'm making them have like an arming time. You know, just like real life. I'm going to talk a bit about a controls problem I'm going to have to deal with. So there are rotator blocks in this game. Like what you can do is you can build a ship, right? Like let's say I got my average astrostep here and I'm putting on some thrusters. I'm a noob. I don't know any better, so I put on some thrusters. But what's this, like as I move around I just start like spinning. It's because the thrusters aren't in like evenly spaced rotational areas. And so to add more controlled rotation, I added a block which lets you directly just like spin yourself, right? These same controls will work when outside of the cockpit. It's like, hold on a second. If I get some more power from these solar panels, I'm going to spin back. See how I slowed the spin down there? Well, let's get out of the sun's purview before we melt like it's been 22 minutes in Outer Wilds or something. But yeah, they suggested that the rotator block should automatically like keep your rotation locked no matter how you move, you know, as far as their torque and power allows. Now this would be trivial to implement with like thrusters, right? I already do the math for like every thruster. I apply a torque based on the wanted thrust, you know, in all these directions. Just at the end of that I go, okay, what's the end effect of the torque on the ship? And I'm just going to try to apply the opposite of that with the rotators, you know, if you aren't like manually overriding it. Now there's a couple problems with this. What if you want it to spin freely? I mean, I guess then you just wouldn't put any rotator blocks down. Is that the answer? Like there's a lot of shit. There's just a big amount of tunable parameters for how ships fly and like how you look at ships, right? So like for example, you can lock the camera's rotation to the player or the cockpit as they spin. Like if you turn your focus again to the gameplay, right, this player's spinning, I could lock the camera to the player so that they spin with the player, or that when you're inside of the ship, like the camera's locked to the player and the arrow keys, instead of trying to move in a general direction, it like fires that specific direction of thruster. So just general, more straightforward control over everything. However, you know, if you're spinning a lot, it's very motion sickness inducing. I also think it's less clear for new players, but like it would make sense to have this as like a tunable option in your spacesuit, right? There's also the problem of, do I like make the movement free or do I have the ship like slow down automatically? In Space Engineers, this is called inertial dampeners. You can like toggle it on and off with the Z key. That's why it has like a billion fucking key bindings and your whole keyboard is used with just a bunch of random controls. Like, I really don't want this. This is what I'm discussing right now. I don't want this. Your entire freaking keyboard used with everything. These are all toggles, by the way. So lock and rotation or don't, free movement or slow down automatically, free rotation or keep the rotation locked to bumps or thrusts. So for keeping rotation locked to bumps, I'm going to make it so, like, even though it gets bumped and the velocity, the rotational velocity immediately changes the next frame, I'll look at the difference and do the math to figure out an impulse that, like, undoes the rotational difference. I don't know how well that'll work. Maybe not at all, because it doesn't like slow down the velocity. It could get very hairy. But what does make sense is keeping the ship like pointing in a direction. So like you press a key and then it'll always try to make the ship point in that direction. I mean, I don't know how useful that is. That sounds like it's only useful if like you make it the target direction spin with the orbit. You see, there's like 8 settings with this shit. There's all these settings. Like, I really don't like tuning much of settings in a game. Ideally, there would be none of this shit in a menu and it would all be automatic to like the best option. Like, this game is kind of about like future technology and stuff, and having a bunch of toggles and like needing to decide constantly as a user what the technology should be doing is, I think, a negative aspect of modern technology that I want to try and avoid. You know what I mean? I mean, we're going to definitely iterate on this. I might just add this for like Patreon builds after Saturday, and I guess the monthly build later on. I really don't know. Oh yeah, I think the Patreon builds are going to work. So there needs to be like player account persistence on these worlds. For the Patreon builds that cost money, for every single Patreon user, I'm going to build a custom version of the executable that like has their account embedded into it. So if you share your executable, you're like sharing your account. I'm fine with that outcome. It also shouldn't be too hard to implement either with like constant integration. The build times are really short because it's all in C. Anyways, look out for you guys today. There's going to be a lot of new stuff tomorrow. Watch out for the big playtest this Saturday in 2 days at 6 p.m. Pacific. Join the Discord in the description to play for free right now, and you can watch over 40 videos and a backlog about the development of this game if you're interested. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell.